Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy. This is Legends Football Month, and we are at the end of it, but we got a special one to end it out with. This guy here was a special player for the Destrehan Wildcats, also a national champion with the LSU Tigers, and now he's back at his alma mater of Destrehan as the DB coach, the one, the only Eugene Sr. Mr. Eugene, how you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm excited, man. I'm excited to do this, man. It's been a pleasure.
I'm glad you're excited. I'm glad you're here with us. VK Jones will be joining us in a second. But Mr. Eugene, I want to ask you, what was it that got you into playing football?
Oh, man, I was like 6 years old, and I actually couldn't play because in recreation in St. Charles Parish, we started at 7 years old, and my mom went to sign me up at 6. At the registration, they told me I couldn't play because I was too young, and I started crying. And ever since then, I had a chip on my shoulder, starting young, and fell in love with the game. And I'm from one of them old school guys. We used to play football outside every day,
Yeah.
so and that's how I started in the neighborhood playing against some good guys and older guys, and that's how I got better. And I fell in love with it. And the older I got in it, man, just started learning the game, understanding it. And it took me to levels and places that I never thought I would see, and it actually changed my life.
Was defensive back always the position you wanted to play, or was there something else that you wanted to play as?
Growing up, my entire time playing park ball, recreation, I always played running back. Um, and when I got to high school, I started off playing defensive back, and got a call one day after, like, I think we played Homeville. It was my junior year, and we lost like 10-3 or something like that, 14-3. And one Sunday, Coach Robichaud was the head coach at the time. He called and he was like, "Jai, want you to play quarterback, but you got to take it serious because I'm a character. I was a character, man." And all the coaches set me down, and it was like, "Look, you take it serious." And they wanted the ball in the best athlete's hand, And so we went there, went forward, and it actually changed my perspective of the game. And my IQ got higher because knowing offense, and it helped me on defense as well. So that was a key part in my and gaining knowledge of the game too. So that really helped me out. And when I got to college, I started playing. I was playing DB, and I was kind of raw at it because I didn't get a ton of experience after I started playing quarterback. And just learning the game, had some good group of guys, older guys that was at LSU helping me with the game, and I was able to learn it and trickle it down to the younger guys that was coming in, like Tyron, Matthew, and Pat, and those guys.
Mm-hmm. I first heard about you your senior year,
Mm-hmm.
and you probably know my brother. You might. I don't know if you know Chad Boyd.
That's my boy at show. That's my boy. That's my
Yeah,
boy. That's my
that's my
boy.
younger brother. And I remember we was in the room one day,
Mm-hmm.
and he was on MySpace or something. He said, "Look, I'm friends with Eugene." I said, "Who's that?" He said, "#1 cornerback in the nation at Destrehan." I said, "Okay, I gotta go see him play." He said, "Yeah, yeah, go see him play, man." And
Mm-hmm.
as you can see, y'all cool, from then and now.
Right.
But you mentioned quarterback. I want to ask you about that. I mean, playing DB most of the time, and you make that change.
Mm-hmm.
When did you feel comfortable as a quarterback at your time in Destrehan, especially your senior year?
Basically my senior year, that's when things started slowing down to me because I was actually a runner. I barely. You asked my offensive coordinator. Actually, one of the coaches, he was receivers coach, Greg Bourne. He's on the staff with us now at Destrehan. And we always clown and joke about how I couldn't throw the ball well. I was a runner. Bill Jai throws it 10 times better than me, man. But but I was mainly a runner, and I had the passion for winning. So I was willing to do anything it took to win. And that was always that was always my thing and my key to just to winning, just to win. I used to hate losing. So I told Coach Robichaud that whatever I needed to do to help the team to win, I was willing to do that.
Funny you said you put the team first. How
Mm-hmm.
important that you're a coach now, that you instill to these younger players that the team has to come first instead of You weren't about your individual stats.
Yeah, especially now with this new generation of kids, because the main focus majority of them is the offers that they want and that they're looking for, and you have to buy in. So my son Jai Jr., he took the same approach I did, man. He could have arguably be one of the top 50 DBs in the country if he played DB full time. But I instilled in him, football is a team sport, man, and that you sacrifice for your team. And he did the same thing. He was a quarterback his entire life,
Yeah.
but he was getting recruited as a DB because that's what I trained him up to be, was a DB. And he is a team guy. He loved winning, and I instilled that in him. And man, he did a great job at it, and with these younger kids, man, team is everything because you're only gonna go as far as the team go. You're gonna have some guys who one of the tops in the country, but they're on terrible teams. And what does it really teach you? And so that was just my approach to our kids now. I just tell them, man, you got to buy into the system, into the program, and it's gonna actually make you a better player when you do that, when you put the team first.
Very true. Mm-hmm. What is your greatest memory of playing football at Destrehan High School?
Yeah, beating Homeville. Beating Homeville my senior year, man. My senior year, beating Homeville, man. Homeville didn't lose a game. Homeville hasn't lost a game at that time in decades, a home game. I think the last one they lost was, St. Aug. In the playoffs, I think it was.
Yeah.
Wow, it was Michael Franklin. I think Dewan Landry, one of them was playing. And that was the first time they lost a home game in a long time. So beating them, that was huge. That was huge at their place too.
I was at that game. I remember it. That's the first time I saw you play, and I saw you play a week later against East St. John. But yeah, that Homeville game, y'all was up big, and they came back. They had Kentrell Lockett, but y'all closed the show on them.
Absolutely, that was fun, man. It was fun, man. It was a nice win for the program, especially against Homeville, who never lost at home. And I think I went like 2-4 versus Homeville, if I'm not mistaken, my freshman year, and my junior. I think I went 1-3. One of them, I think I won 1 or 2 of them versus Homeville, but that's it. They were good. They were loaded.
Speaking of that rivalry, since you brought it up, to me, one of the best rivalries for a long time. But right now, y'all have had their number since the 2018 season. And absolutely. I know y'all want to extend that winning record against them. But how relevant is this rivalry of the West Bank of St. Charles versus the East Bank of St. Charles Parish when players on both teams know each other like that?
Yeah, because we grew up with them kids, with those guys playing recreation, all-star teams, basketball, baseball. So we grew up with them guys. A lot of my close friends are from that side of the river, and it's one of the biggest rivalries in the state. Probably one of the best in the country as well. And it used to be great, man. I don't know what them guys doing over there in Homeville right now, man. It's night and day right now. It used to be a challenge, man. Now, but it's starting to separate a little bit. But I think they'll get back on track. Coach Duquette has a plan. He has to get them guys back to where Homeville used to be, you know, because I think the talent is still there on both sides. The talent is equal. Now, what you do with it and the work you put in, I think that is the difference right now. And Coach Scott doing a great job. He's a great head coach. He's doing a great job at Destrehan, man. Yes. And the program hasn't lost a step since Coach Robiso retired. We got a great staff around us. A lot of former players who played at Destrehan is on the staff. So that's a great component, to the program, and the kids buy in because a lot of the coaches went through it. So, we can push the kids harder. They understand where we're coming from because we've been in it.
How was it playing for Coach Robichaud?
A great guy, man. Great guy. Great guy. Great guy. Worked with me a ton. Helped me to get to the highest level I could get to. Still got, like I said, Coach Bourne is on the staff. Greg Bourne, he helped a lot. He's been there the time I was there, and he coached Lil Jai as well. But Coach Robichaux was a great guy, had the program intact. It was a ton of discipline, and that's what we strive for at Destrehan, discipline and organization. So, and that's a key to success as well.
For a long time during your senior year, and as I bring in VK Jones, a long time during your senior year, you verbally said you were going to continue your football career at Michigan. The day of signing day, there was the flip to LSU. What was the reason?
Lil Jai. I keep it real with you. It was Lil Jai. All right. So at first I wanted to do something different. Nobody knew I was going to go to Michigan because it was different. I think the last person from Louisiana that really went to Michigan was Chris Howard, if I'm not mistaken, the running back from John Curtis. Did he go to Curtis?
Yes.
Yeah, he went to Curtis. Chris Howard. Indeed. So I took my official visit to Michigan for the Ohio State game, the Ohio State-Michigan game. I took it there, and I met Charles Woodson, Derek Jeter, Lamar Woody, Mike Hart, who's the running back coach at Michigan. He was my host, and I just loved everything about Michigan at the time, and then at the All-American game, the U.S. Army game, I made my commitment to Michigan. And, man, I never forget my boy Trooper Taylor. He stayed on me. He stayed recruiting me. Trooper Taylor was at Tennessee. He started at Tulane. That's when I first met him. VK, you might know Trooper Taylor, VK.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very familiar. Trooper Taylor's been in the business for a long time.
My boy. So they was recruiting. I met Troop because they was recruiting a guy named Fred Smith at Tulane. And Troop was at Tulane, was the receivers coach. So that's how I started the relationship with Troop. But Troop was at Tennessee at the time. And the weekend before signing day, I had took an official visit to Tennessee because I was committed to Michigan, and Troop was like, Jai, just take this visit for me. This is gonna help me out. And I took the visit, and Lil Jai had his first birthday party on that Sunday when I was coming back from Tennessee. So seeing all my family, seeing and Lil Jai turning 1, and I was like, man, I can't leave him. It actually worked out for my good, for him too, so everything I do for him and my kids, and that was the decision. That was a turning point. If he wouldn't have had his birthday party, I probably would have went to Michigan.
Yes, indeed.
But it played out for the best for me. I'm happy I went to LSU, the love in the state, great connections in the state, man, life after football. By going to LSU. And I tell a lot of kids who going to LSU, man, life after football, if you plan on living in this state and working in this state, man, and doing things in the community, LSU is a great spot because of the connections they have in the state as well.
Most definitely. Now, going to LSU, when it comes to a lot of kids, their first year on the campus, and they're playing a sport, some get redshirted.
Yeah.
And you were redshirted your freshman year.
Absolutely.
Some people take it the wrong way. Some people take it in stride. How did you take it?
I took it because we had a good group of seniors, man. We were loaded, man. That was one of the best teams that I've ever been around. And I'm talking about the 06 year with Jamarcus Russell. We were loaded just probably more than the 2020 team with those guys because we were loaded. We had first rounders. We had 2 first rounders. Receivers with Craig Davis and Dwayne Bowe. Jamarcus was the quarterback. He went number 1 overall. And we also had first-round draft picks on defense with LaRon Landry, Glenn Dorsey, all those guys with Tyson Jackson. We were loaded too. So I understood my role, man. And I understood by coming in and playing DB that I had to learn a lot. And the game is faster in college than high school, so just learning from the older guys like Sevis Jackson and LaRon Landry and Jonathan Zenon and Ali Highsmith, Jesse Daniels, Craig Stelz was another one. Just learning from them guys, man, and just waiting my time, and just learning. Redshirting is not a bad thing because it's like you get an extra year to work out, you get an extra year to get ahead academically. Possibility you could graduate early. And training and get used and get acclimated with the speed in the game of college.
Your sophomore year, national champions.
Yes.
Talk about that for a little bit, becoming a national champion.
It was a crazy year, man. It was a crazy year. We had a great team, man. Great leadership. That was probably one of the best leadership teams I've ever been on. What a ton of leadership with Glenn Dorsey. Matt Flynn was the quarterback. Jacob Hester. Them guys were great leaders. Glenn Dorsey, Ali Highsmith, Kirsten Pittman from East St. John. Them guys were great leaders. And we were young, man, but them guys taught me that every play counts, and that you have to study film. That's going to be your best friend, and understanding the game. That was helpful. But it was a great year because, we were ranked number 1 twice and we lost twice. I think we lost to Kentucky once. And was that Arkansas? Yeah, Arkansas, they had some bad boys, man. Arkansas had with the Wild Hog offense would make McFadden, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis. Man, they had some studs, man. They were good. They had that thing rolling.
We go into your junior year, and I gotta ask this question because your sophomore year you started about 9-10 games.
Yep.
Junior year, you had 2 starts, and this is my personal opinion. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I felt like, and no disrespect to him at all, and to LSU, but I felt as if they were trying to get Pat P in there very quickly.
That's my boy, man. That's my boy. Yeah, they were, man. They definitely were, man. And I don't knock that, man. That's how life goes. You don't know how this game going to. You don't know what a game going to take you and how it's going to go. It helped me with adversity. You know what I'm saying? And understand I had like 3 DB coaches that come in after my 4-5 years that I was there. And man, Pat's a Hall of Famer, man. You can't knock that. You know what I'm saying? I had some younger guys that's coming in. Mo went first round. Eric Reed went first round. Tyron was a Heisman candidate, so they had some great group of guys that was coming in. Now I held my own too, though. But when the older you get, how coaches be too. They want to play the younger ones too, especially if they talented too. So it wasn't no knock on that. I held my own when I was with them guys, and they know that too. And I taught them guys a lot. They knew that when they got there, I was the guy to teach them the game and defense and technique and coverages and schemes and stuff like that. So a lot of them dudes are my best buddies, and they still look up to me, and they know I was the OG when they came in, and just teaching them the game. So, and that's the reason why I feel like I'm a great coach, because that aspect helped me along the way to becoming a great coach. But I had some fun, and I learned from them guys, man, and them guys learned from me, and it was a battle. It challenged me. It actually had made me better about life and understanding everything is not going to go my way and not given to me, and that way I can give it back to them young kids too.
Understandable. Very understandable. Before I pass it on to VK, senior year, you were moved to safety.
Yeah.
Talk about that transition.
Well, because I don't know if y'all remember, Chad Jones left early, so that was supposed to be Chad's spot. So Chad left early. So and Pat was coming up. We had a young corner and Mo Claiborne. He was coming up. Them guys were good, So Chad left early, and Chad got picked up by the Giants. So we needed somebody to replace that, and so that's when I took the safety spot, and I played it there too. It actually helped me with my knowledge of the game too, because I played everywhere in the secondary: nickel, dime, corner, and free safety. So that helped me with my IQ and learning more knowledge of the game, and it makes coaching now easier for me because I can teach it from every aspect and every position. And I love it, and I loved it. I'm sorry, VK.
No, you good. Go ahead. Finish it.
And I loved it, man. I learned a lot. I had some good coaches who taught me a lot. I was able to be taught by some great coordinators. I had Bo Pelini was my first coordinator, taught me a lot. And Chief, Big John Chavez, he was a great guy too. He was a great coach too, came from Tennessee, and he had coached some great players too, and just expanding my knowledge of the game. I never forget Coach John Chavez was like, "Jai, you're gonna be a coach one day because your knowledge of the game." And I was like, "Thank you, Coach. I respect that."
Well, Jai, man, we appreciate you taking the time out, join us tonight and everything, man. We definitely appreciate it. And it's you made up big time. That's all I can say, man. But you made up big time, bro.
Yes,
I had a feeling you was gonna come through. We know life goes on, life is lifing, but we're glad you're here.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. First of all, how do you think? What do you think LSU, out of all the schools across the country, has the right to call that school DBU?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We got some schools they got schools in the country who putting out some good DBs, man, but we had a run, man. We had a run, even coming from especially starting with that Saban era, man. When Saban started getting all them guys and developing them DBs with Travis Daniels, Corey Webster, Ronnie Prue. They had some good guys come through they had some good guys, and they led on with the younger guys like Pat and all, and them guys and Tyron and them young dudes, Grandel, Pitt, Stingley. So it kept going on too. And they're gonna have some schools that say that, they put out a lot of DBs too, but we had a run, man. And since recently, Bama, we put out most of the top DBs, on a consistent basis throughout the year.
You were like you mentioned, you was a red. I think at the time, looking at your bio, redshirt freshman. At the time, you on a national championship team against Ohio State. And I tell you, what was your thoughts on that team itself? We had Herb Tyler last night.
Okay, yeah.
We compared, and we didn't. He was talking about his time there with the running backs he had. But I said at the time, that group was good, but you're comparing. We didn't see a group like that until your time at LSU.
Yeah,
with those 4 running backs, starting with Justin Vincent, Richard Murphy, and 2 other backs. And I'll tell you, man, those 4, those 2 groups, I can't even pick who's better.
Yeah,
because the fact of the matter is that all of them had backs that can do different things.
Yep. Watch this though.
What are your thoughts about that group?
Watch this, VK. Justin Vincent, you got to think he was the MVP of the SEC championship and the national championship, and he only was a freshman. He got hurt, so he gained weight. You got to think. Ali Broussard was a running back. This is my 06 year, not the national, the 06 year. This was Ali Broussard, Justin Vincent. Them dudes was good. Keelan Williams was on the national championship team. Jacob Hester, Richard Murphy, Keelan, Charles Scott was my roommate. So, and he was very productive on that national championship team too.
Yeah.
But that tandem with Justin Vincent and Allie, them dudes don't get hurt because both of them had ACL injuries. Them dudes don't get hurt. Them dudes like Cecil Collins and Rondell Milley and Kel Falk, them dudes had some promising good years. Them first couple years, they had some good production.
Very, very much agreed. And I tell you, you had to make a little bit of adjustment in itself. I believe. I'm trying to think. Were you there the last year, Saban, before the transition to Miles, or you was there the whole time with Les Miles?
I was there. I was Miles' first true recruiting class. Saban last year was 04. And Miles' first year was 05. So yeah, because Miles when they played Miami in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta and blew Miami out like 40-3 or something. That was Miles' first year. So actually, Miles' first recruiting class was Ryan Perilou. They only signed like 15 guys, if that. It was a low class. So his first true recruiting class was our class in 06.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask you this. There was a couple of guys on that LSU national championship had to make that transition from Saban to Les Miles. What are your thoughts on how those players made that adjustment to Coach Miles?
Man, they give me a ton of stories, man. They say Saban was a great coach, but he was a lunatic, man. And it was different though, because Coach Miles is more of a player coach. Great guy, man. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't get into the media and stuff. I just go off of how he treated me and the guys that we had in that locker room, man. And he is a player's coach, believe me. He is a player coach. He give guys a ton of chances, believe me. But I would hear the stories about Saban to start the whole practice over. If they got 24 periods, they tell me the story. If they got 24 periods in the practice and we on 2021, Saban to start the practice over, get back to your stretch lines. That's how crazy he was. But he was a great coach. But they had Kirby Smart on that roster. Who else on that roster?
Jimbo Fisher,
Jimbo Muschamp. God, a ton of guys on that staff with him. Who else? Dooley was on that staff. Dooley, man, they had some good guys on that staff, dude. Good fired up coaches on that staff too. So they used to tell us the stories about how hard practice used to be, how hard Saban used to be on them. And then coming from Coach Miles is a little different because they was used to the Saban way. And they said the fourth quarter mat drills was definitely different, but Coach Moffitt was still there. So the training and the strength and conditioning program was still the same though. But they used to tell us a ton of stories about when Saban was there because they were the guys who really was going through the transition because I was just a Miles guy. That's all I knew. Now, Nick Saban recruited me at Destrehan because I was mainly a track guy too. I started off a track guy. So that's when I really, got my offer. It was really when Saban seen me from track. But
absolutely,
the transition, those guys tell me that it was night and day from Saban to Miles.
Very much agree. Very much agree. And also, you take a look. You talking about Les Miles being a player's coach. Is it true about Les Miles? You can keep him 100 with us. He loves eating that grass, huh?
Definitely, man. That's my guy, man. Definitely, man. Definitely a good dude. He definitely used to taste the grass before the game. No matter. Especially in Tiger Stadium. He definitely used to taste that grass, man. Definitely.
He's one of the funniest people I've seen in college football. And the one phrase I always love, he said, Tiger Stadium, where dreams come to die.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Wow. I said, yep, you said a mouthful,
Absolutely. And that's an atmosphere, man, that before you leave this earth, you have to experience that because it's like a movie. It doesn't matter who they play, especially if you catch an SEC game or a top 10 matchup. It's definitely one of the best experience you can ever get in the world. I would say that atmosphere is unbelievable in Baton Rouge, and that's why when them kids on a visit that game, them kids want to go there and see 100,000 people, and it looked like a movie. Now you got to think LSU Stadium better than most NFL stadiums. That atmosphere on a Saturday night is better than most NFL games on a Sunday.
I agree. I always said, and we talked about this last night before the show was over, and I was very happy to know that CBS is not carrying SEC no more. So meaning that it might be more night games for LSU. So I'm kind of happy about that. But I grew up.
I know that.
I grew up. Yeah, exactly. I grew up through the more of the Bayou Classic type thing, the Grambling Southern type of stuff.
Yeah.
Going to a couple Southern games and everything. But then all of a sudden I went to an LSU Alabama game in Nick Saban's last year. I looked up on tickets and I was like, I'm sorry, this stumps the Bayou Classic. This stumps Southern. I love Southern, but I'm sorry,
man.
This is the best experience in college sports.
Yep.
The only thing that comes close to that, and I say it's what with LSU, I'm a Florida State fan. I went to a Florida State Florida game. And
great fan base, both of them.
The atmosphere was crazy.
Where was it?
But it was in Tallahassee. I went to Tallahassee for that one. And usually that game is my birthday weekend. My birthday usually fall on Thanksgiving weekend.
Uh-huh.
So I went one year and it was unbelievable. Florida won the game, but this is a difference between the two. The only difference when LSU loses in Tiger Stadium, they still party. They might feel some type of way, but you still hear the noise a bit. You still hear the talking and all that stuff. When Florida State loses, it's a freaking funeral.
It is.
It is
Josh.
Quiet.
It is.
It is dead. It's like when they lost to Florida.
Yeah.
And the Florida crowd was out there and everything cheering. About 5 minutes later, I'm about to leave the stadium. I don't hear a pin drop in the stadium, nor the land, nor the town. It's like, wow. It's like a funeral. Like somebody died. So that's the only difference, but there wasn't with the atmosphere. Those are two great fan bases, and I cannot wait till those two play again this year in Orlando.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great. We got I was fortunate to coach Jamie Vance and Montreal when I was at De La Salle coaching. So I was able to coach those guys. But Coach Chris Jones, he was the running back coach at De La Salle, Coach Montreal. And I've been having Jamie since Jamie was 10 years old, and when I left De La Salle, I got him over the car and he just kept elevating, man. So that's a great matchup. Both of them guys, I still talk to Jamie a lot. And I know how it is, man. That matchup with Florida State, that's an in-state rivalry. And I know it get crazy, but like you were saying, when LSU lose, they still gonna party, they still gonna drink, they still gonna turn up, and they still talk they trash and everything. Yeah, that's part of Baton Rouge, man. But I love it, man. The fan base is great in Baton Rouge. They love it. The whole state support them, and it's all love too, though. And I know our fans can get a little crazy, especially if we lose or we mess up or something like that. But man, it's all love, though. I know our fans hard, but it's love, though.
You look at them, and it's unbelievable. You look at it New Orleans wise with it. On the staff of LSU, Frank Wilson, and also Cortez Hankton. Then you go to Florida State, David Johnson, also Pat Surtain, added to the staff this year, and also forgot former head coach of Baton Rouge Catholic.
Seminole.
He's not Seminole.
No,
the coach before him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Not his name, but I know you're talking about. Yeah.
He's on the Florida State staff as well.
Yeah, he's on Florida State staff as well. He's going in I think year number 2.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Luke's at Florida. Corey Raymond's at Florida. Billy brought in some good guys too. I think he's gonna turn it around. I think he's gonna turn it around over there. They're doing a great job of recruiting too.
Very much agreed, man. Looking now. This is kind of fun questions here. I'm gonna take it back to Destrehan in a little bit, but you talk about the year y'all played in the Peach Bowl and put the beat down on one of my hated rivals, Miami. What a night that was!
Yeah, that was awesome. But
can you just tell what happened? Because here's the thing: it ain't just a fact, ladies and gentlemen. LSU won big.
Yeah.
They had a little scuffle after.
Yeah.
And LSU won the fight. Yeah. Tell us about that whole moment.
I was still in high school that year, but I got the stories from them guys. They had the fight in the tunnel.
Right.
So the fight, the brawl was in the tunnel after they beat him. Now, Saban did a good job. Now, Saban started getting a lot of guys from South Florida, that Miami area, so that's how it really started with Dwayne Bowe and Ali Highsmith and a couple other guys. Travis Daniels was there before, but Nick Saban started getting in South Florida and recruiting them guys and getting them to come to Baton Rouge out of South Florida. So that's how it started. They were talking trash all before the game. It was about the brawl before the game, and then beat the brakes off them, and then walking into the tunnel. So in the Georgia Dome, the teams had to go through the same tunnel. So after the game, man, one dude said something with the pushing, and they went to brawling. It was bananas. Still to this day, LSU doesn't like Miami at all. At all. So when I see Ed Reed, I was like, bro, we don't like y'all like that, bro. We don't like them Canes like that, man. We don't like them Canes.
I find it funny because Nick Saban always had the football team do some type of martial arts in the off season.
Yep.
And I did not notice, but we had Marlon Fayrite on earlier this month, and he said that they were under investigation because of that fight and no longer couldn't do the martial arts class.
Yep, because and we only did it, I think, my first 2 years at LSU that we did martial arts and yoga. We only did it on Wednesdays. And we would do half karate and then half yoga. But then I think we did stop though. You're right about that. We did stop. I think after like a year or so, we stopped and we just did straight yoga on Wednesdays.
Wow. And well, all that was all I'm gonna tell you. That right there, I seen like it's like more of a joy to me to see Miami getting a beating. I thought the worst beating I've ever seen was the Arizona game in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah,
but that topped it. I was like, oh Lord.
And you know, Miami used to be having some real dudes on their team. You know, they got real soldiers. The old Miami, yeah.
and here's the thing. And sometimes some people be like, what is wrong with me as a fan? I'm like, look, let me tell you something right now. I'm like, I'm humble. I'm like this. I love what Florida State is doing, but I feel sorry for Miami for one reason only. That program has not been the same since the Orange Bowl tore down. They've never been the same again. Nope. I kept saying, I met a Miami fan when I went to Florida State game. I said this: when y'all get your own place and stop sharing that stadium,
yep.
When you get your own place and get your atmosphere back, maybe you'll be back. Because I'm like this, man. That ain't good enough. You know, that in my opinion, I'm saying that because I want the rivalry to get back to what it was.
Back to what it was. Exactly. It's not the same. It's not the same, especially it's something different about, man. It's something different about when you got your own stadium. I was talking to the Tulane coaches the other day, man, and it's like it's going to the Dome only looks like they only had 50 people at the game when Tulane was playing in the Dome. And now at a home game now is a great atmosphere now. You know, and go the same thing for Miami too, though. But what Miami is, that program hasn't been the same because the state of you got other schools around the country coming digging into the state of Florida and getting a lot of kids too. They're not just going to Florida State, Miami, or the Florida Gators. They're not just going there. UFC's coming up, you know, and you get schools LSU, Alabama, Georgia. Them guys, Ohio State, them guys, Texas, them guys are coming to Florida and get a lot of them kids from South Florida, which we know South Florida got a ton of talent, like Louisiana, you know. But now that as Florida hasn't been great since Urban Meyer left.
The major wake up call that happened at the time, Jai, in my opinion. The come up of South Florida and the come up of Central Florida when Jim Levin coached South Florida, and they have not been the same since he left that program. He's not been the same. And you look at Central Florida, George O'Leary, who averaged 9 to 10 wins a season at UCF, and I was like, I said this myself. And I'm like, you crazy, VK? I'm like, no, they taking over your state.
Yep, and Gus Malzahn doing a good job over there right now.
Right.
With that program, you know, doing a great job with that program. Great job. But the schools are coming up in Florida, and them kids want to go. The kids want to play right now. So they gonna choose a South Florida and UCF and them other programs. They gonna choose that.
Now, talking about the recruiting a little bit and stuff like that, since you're an assistant coach. What are your thoughts of the transfer portal, how much it has affected the recruiting right now, and what does the NCAA need to do about it?
Okay. I've been a part of it because of Lil Jai's recruitment, right? And I would say it's hurting high school. Yeah, it's hurting high school because every program wants to win now. Coaches only stand at 3 and 4 years, 3 years at that. You know, so every program is a win now. Nobody really wants to develop high school kids like talking about it. So now if you're not a 5-star, a 4-star, then guess what? Your chances be slim. So now I'm telling a lot of kids, y'all got to commit early, man, because the spots it's not gonna be that many spots now. The transfer portal is crazy, and dudes. You got kids who don't want to work, don't understand, don't want to fight through adversity. That's gonna hurt the portal. So now they don't play right away. They leaving. You got coaches tampering with other kids from other schools to get other good kids to come to their school. It's a lot going on right now. The NCAA has a hold on it. It'll calm down once it get back to you have to sit out a year to play. But kids are taking advantage of it. The NIL is a big part of it too. That them kids want money now too. So that's a huge part of it. A college is going to offer a kid. If a kid is at Southeastern right now and he made all conference, first team all conference, player of the year in the Southeastern Conference, in the Southland Conference, and now you get somebody like LSU or Georgia want him or Tennessee wants him, and now I'm about to offer you $200,000 to come. I'm gonna give you an NIL contract for $200,000. You think that kid about to say no? I want to go play in the SEC, and I want these $200,000. So it's changed a lot too, though. So, but the game of football has changed too. College football has changed, so you got to adapt and adjust to it. Now, do I think the NCAA will make a change to it? I think so. Once it continue to get crazy and it really gets out of hand, I think it will. I think in a couple of years that it will. But we all knew from the pandemic, when the pandemic hit, that they giving them guys extra years. That's about to set this whole thing back till about 2028 or 30, something like that. So, and we did so I educated Lil Jai on that. Hey, man, it's different than when I was coming in, because 3-stars used to still go to SEC schools and 2-stars still used to sign with SEC and Power 5 schools back then. Now it's not happening anymore, though. So you got to get in where you fit in now. And committing early is the key. You see a lot of guys not waiting till February signing day no more, VJ. They trying to get in January, and they committing before the season to have a spot.
Very much so. Very much so. Let's go to Destrehan right here. Your time at Destrehan, I mean, you really done some unbelievable things in the secondary. Really played very hard. You played a little offense as well. You had some good years. I think you played with Jordan Jefferson 1 year, I believe. I think if it's
I tell people this all the time, man. Jordan was prepared and ready, because Jordan was a sophomore when I was a senior. If he was a quarterback, we probably had a good chance of winning it all. But I don't think he was there yet. But we knew he was going to be good. He was my backup, and we knew he was going to be good, man. And we had a lot of good young talent. His senior class with Jericho Nelson, who's on the staff, he went to Arkansas. Damaris Johnson was a receiver. He went to Tulsa, broke records over there. Probably still has some records. Tim Moten signed with LSU. He was a good receiver. So they had some guys, man. And I knew Jordan was going to be good. Now, at the time, when I was a senior, was he going to be ready for it? I'm not sure. He could have made some plays and grew into it. But just the winning now and wanting to win, I think that's the reason why Coach Robichaux transitioned me over to quarterback.
Who I believe, was this after the Ivan Mache time when he was at quarterback?
Yeah, so Mache was the quarterback. Then Daniel Luquette was a quarterback for 1 year. I was in 8th grade. The head coach at Humville, he was the quarterback. And then after that, we had a guy named DeMarco Hutchinson. He was real good. He just passed away. So rest in peace to DeMarco.
Oh, man.
He was a good dude, man.
Wow.
Great dude.
He was a really good dude.
Yeah, man. Great football player. To me, one of the best quarterback that came, my opinion, probably the best quarterback that came through Destrehan. He was good, coach. He was only like 5'9", coach, but he could sling it. He was a football player. He was athletic. He could run. He'll try to run over you.
Right.
Yeah, Mache was. I
wonder if was he related to Chandler Mache?
Yep,
who was the quarterback at Destrehan.
Absolutely. Them guys from Narco, Louisiana, and Ivan Mache passed away too. He passed away.
Sad to hear that.
Yeah, he passed away a while back. He was actually my barber. So, he passed back a while back. But St. Charles Parish is small, and so we got Lil small communities, and the Maches are mainly from the Narco area of St. Charles Parish. So yeah, and that's all family. The majority of everybody who on the East Bank side of St. Charles Parish, St. Rose, New RP, Destrehan, Narco, it's all everybody's damn near family, you know. And we come up Destrehan, the community. That's what we do on Friday nights is go to the game. The whole community shut down because everybody go to the game. You know, and so we know everybody coming up, all the players, we know about all of them coming up. And it's a great tradition, a history of guys and ballers that came through Destrehan, starting a long time ago. You know, ton of guys. Richard Dent, you know, all the way back then I had an uncle, Skippy Charles. He went to Tulane. Damian Mason, he played DB, went to UL. Jason, we got Jason Smothers is on our coaching staff. He played at LSU. Rondell Millie. We had a ton of guys. Y'all know Ed, Aaron Smith. We had some guys, man. A ton of talent comes from Destrehan, man. And it's continued to go. It's continued to go. It's a football town, you know. And we play football in that community. We grew up playing football in that community, man.
Steve Robichaux kind of took things to the next level. I remember Tim Rebo was the coach.
And before that,
he was the coach. Yeah, exactly. He got Destrehan to their first trip to the Dome with Rondell Millie.
Yep.
I remember I was a freshman at St. Aug, and we came up a point short and should have faced them in the Dome.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's none. It was the beginning of West Monroe era, but I still didn't forget what Chandler Manchay did in that Dome. We threw that pass deep and broke a camera right in the end zone on Friday Night Football. That was their intro to next season.
Yep, I was at that game. I was young though, man. I was at that game though, and they had a ton of talent. VK was that St. Aug when they had the running backs, the 4 horsemen, the 3 horsemen? Was that around the time?
You could say it was 5 at the time because Sean Rhodes was just coming back. Right. He came back in the Hahnville game,
right,
and went crazy. Now you had Sean Rhodes, Jamal Fobbs, Dennis Burks, who was at Damian Charles, and Terrence Wilson. Terrence Wilson was the only senior out the 5. And it was crazy how everybody stepped up after Sean Rhodes got hurt against Curtis.
All my St. Aug people tell me, man, y'all was a kicker away from really winning it all, man.
Yeah, we had a consistent kicker. It was just at the time, like, and I didn't blame the coaches at all for making the decision to go for 2 to try to get it over with. We were just surprised that we decided to pass it instead of just trying to run it in and try to see if we get in the end zone and win it there.
With the running back.
So that was the only little surprise, but at the same time, you know, and then St. Aug had people hurt that game. They had a lot of starters hurt in that semifinal game, and you could just tell by it. And West Monroe, give a lot of credit to Bobby Breen, who was the quarterback, and Larry Wright. Those cats, they showed no fear that night.
Yeah,
and it was like, it don't matter. We coming from all the way from the north down here to the Memphis.
They were good.
We come to play.
They were good.
And they were
good. Were good. That time, Evangel and West Monroe, man, they were the guys. Really up north football. You know, Washington, them guys were good back then at that time. You know, them guys were really good. West Monroe, they was really good. Out of my 4 years in high school, I lost 2 years at West Monroe in the playoffs. The other 2 was Evangel. You know, so up north football was it was major, man. But coming down south, we started taking over, baby.
Exactly, and that change came for when Hahnville beat Evangel. Brian Lee was the quarterback. Everything changed from that day forward.
Harris Reynolds, studs. They had guys. Yes. They had guys. I remember Brian mentioned the guy, Brett Narcan.
Yes.
But he was good. They was good, man. They were good. They had their offense was their running backfield with him and Craig Turner. They were really good. Darius Reynolds, one of the best athletes that's gonna come through the state, man. Definitely.
How was that rivalry with Han?
It was great.
And I know it's not the same right now.
No, not even close right now. Not even close, man. Not even close, man. I think Luquette's gonna pick it up, but he better, because guess what? His job gonna be on the line too, buddy. If he's gonna keep it real, he better get it. He better get it turned over. That better put that work in with them boys. I'm telling you that right now, man. But Back then. That's why, and their community is starting to get heated, man, and pissed off about.
They are.
Why is the gap? Why is it so spread differently now? Because we used to go back and forth. There used to be a grudge match, man. And now them kids are small over there. And I'm not hating on them. I mean, I'm not trying to diss Homeville, man. But it has to change though. It definitely has to change. It's night and day over there, man. But I'm just going off from what they fans and their alumni is telling me.
Yes, that's a lot. You're all right.
How they're getting right now. Because it's Homeville never loses 4 games in the season. Correct. They're only gonna lose to us, if that. Because they always used to beat East St. John. Yep. Always. We don't lose to East St. John. Homeville never did really used to too. They're being dog fights. They had a game when Perilou and Deron Thomas. That was a dog fight in 04, I think it was. 03, 04.
Yes.
That was a dog. That's one of the best high school games people can ever see. It's on YouTube. They can watch it.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's night and day now, man. And like I said, Coach Scott has done a great job of picking up from where Robe left at. And we won a championship this year, and we got a ton of talent coming back. We lost a lot, but we got a ton of talent come back. But we got Coach Taffy as our defensive coordinator. He does a great job in the weight room. He don't play. He take it seriously. He love it, and he on them kids' butt in the weight room, and I think that's the difference too. I think Duquette is a great coach. He is, but it's too much of a drop-off right now, and you can see it. Something has to change in that program. And I want the best from them because a lot of my buddies and great friends play there. A lot of kids I coach in basketball and in recreation, them kids at Homeville and just graduated from Homeville. And I hate to see them kids losing records, losing in the first round and stuff like that. But I think Luquette, I think he has an opportunity to change it around. I think he will. You just gotta. It's time. You gotta put time in. Because I tell you this, before we go to the next subject, I was at De La Salle when I first started with Manali, man, and we had to change that whole culture around. We was getting kids at De La Salle, trying to get kids and recruit kids at De La Salle, man, who never thought De La Salle was a college. They thought De La Salle was out of state until we got them kids in there and turned it around. Unfortunately, we had good staffs. Willie Brooks was on that staff, helped me with the defense. Al Poray, who's at Southeastern right now, he was on that staff. Chris Jones, he's with Manali right now at Jesuit. He's one of the main reasons why getting them kids in there and how far that program went. He's one of the best guys to do it. Arguably one of the best running back coaches in the state, in my opinion. Just turning that whole program around, it was work, and we put the time in. I tell Willie Brooks all the time, man, I remember the days that, bro, we out there for hours lining it up and getting the defense right, lining it up, trying to get these kids acclimated, getting drills right, technique down. So it took some time, but you got to put the work in, though.
You look at yourself working with Marcus Scott, and I'll tell you a lot of history with what happened last year, and it was a lot of barriers being broken. It wasn't not too long ago that Marcus Scott became the head coach of Destrehan. For Steve Robichaud to talk up for him, to be like, hey, this is the guy. And for him to finally get over the hump to being not just the first African-American coach in St. Charles Parish in football, but being the first African-American coach to take a team to the Dome and to win a state championship. How did you feel about the history that was made, and especially, and you've been knowing Marcus Scott for a minute, how I was working with him, and also the feeling that he made history for not just African Americans in Louisiana, but for him personally, for what he had to overcome?
Well, Marcus gave me my first coaching opportunity. He was at West Jeff. And I came through the middle of the season. I was like, Coach, I'm not doing nothing with my time. Just let me come help out. So he gave me the opportunity to come. And when he came to Destrehan, and I wasn't coaching at the time, I was just being a parent, going to watch little Jai play because Robichaud was still a head coach. So, and he asked me like, Jai, you want to come coach? I was like, sure, Coach, I definitely want to come help you, and he understands the standard at Destrehan. And I was happy for him, because you know, he couldn't get past the semifinals, you know. So when we beat Westgate, VK, you was at that game. So, and you heard how loud we was hollering in the press box and all.
Boy, you were so loud in that press box.
Ooh, Lord.
John, you were cutting up, man.
Man, Jared was like, man, you hear job in here? I said, yeah, that's a Destrehan in him, bro.
Yes, it did. And I was excited for Coach Scott, man. We all were, you know, because we were close. You got to think, we went to semifinals twice. Lost to Zachary, lost to Acadiana. It was a close game, 3-0 at halftime. And then lost to Zachary, was 15-14 at the half. You know, some things ain't go our way here and there that we could have adjusted to. And but he was close, you know, but he had a good senior group, man, with Lil Jai and them other seniors. And man, you had a good group, man. You had a great group of seniors, guys who had a ton of experience, you know, and I actually was happy for Coach Scott. He was the first black coach at Destrehan to do it, first black coach in St. Charles Parish, period, in football.
Yeah.
You know, and I was happy for him, you know, and the drop off, it wasn't really no drop off. The community still supported, didn't matter what color you were, what race you were. Everybody still supported, because like I told you, that community of St. Charles Parish, we live for Friday nights, you know, so everybody embraced Coach Scott with open arms, you know, and we was willing to help him to overcome, you know, that obstacle and getting to the dome and winning it. And once we beat Westgate, we was like, we're not losing to Ruston. We feel like we got Ruston number. You know, we beat Ruston the past 2 years, but we beat him at our place twice. And the third year we beat him in the dome. So we feel like we had their number, you know, and I was excited for him, man, because Coach Scott is a great guy, man. He does it the right way. You know, he's no foolishness with him, you know, great dude. He's going to push the kids. He's going to let you coach too. That's the best thing. That's the best thing I love about him. He going to let you coach. You know, because you're going to get on some staffs that coaches ain't going to let you coach. They won't do it their way, and you got to follow their way. But he's really open to letting you coach, and that's the great thing I love about him. He let me be me, and he let the other coaches be them and let them coach, because, you know, ultimately he's only good as his assistant coaches, and he says it a lot.
I'm gonna ask you this one more thing, and I'm gonna let Jared take over with the questions. I do got some for you later on. I'm gonna get to you.
All right.
I'm gonna ask you this one more because I know Jared got some more for you.
All right.
I'm gonna ask you this: how was coaching your son? I know you was coaching another position, but how was, you know, being on the staff and being? It seemed like you were hands on, but you was really being a father.
Yeah.
Being hands off, let him do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen that a lot when I went to a couple of the games and practices, mm-hmm. and I really got to give you props for that, because sometimes in certain coaches, sometimes they take it to the limit with their kid, mm-hmm. but at the same time, some they put their hands off and be like, "Go ahead, do what you got to do. I'll encourage you, but I'll get on you when it's necessary. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if I see you handle your business, mm-hmm. hands off." What was your thoughts? How you know, with you adjusting to coach your son?
So that was actually Coach Scott and I first conversation when we were talking about, you know, bringing me on to the staff. And I told him, I was like, look, I'm taking the father figure out of this. You know, I love the game, you know, but he know the type of guy I am. If I see a kid messing up, it could be Jai, because I coached a lot of those kids through AAU and park ball. You know, I coached a lot of those kids, so they like my sons and my nephews to me. So I treat every kid the same like I coach Lil Jai. I'm gonna coach every kid hard like I coach Lil Jai. But I took a step back and I just let Coach Greg Bourne, y'all coach him. You know, y'all got him. Now, when he came play DB, and Scott used to let him come over to work out, get some reps at DB, then I'm going to coach him, you know. But I sat back at times, too, and I would just wait till we get home, you know, and we watching film. Look, Jai, look at this right here. You know, what did the offensive coach tell you? What did the coordinator Bourne tell you? All right, what you looking at right here? So we would go over it at home, never on the field though. Now, if it's in the game and I feel like, look, Jai, at halftime, okay, like pick your energy up, okay, smile a little more, have a little more fun. That's the encouragement I'll give him, but never hard on him like I'd be at home. You know, never. And I pushed him at a young age, you know, because I know what it takes. I know what it takes to be successful and get to where he wants to be, you know. So I will push him at a young age, but I laid a great foundation down for him, and all I got to do, you know, is encourage him and motivate him at times and help him out. But At Destrehan, I really just sat back and just let him have fun. It was a senior year. You know, he understood the assignment, understood what he wanted. He had a goal set, and that's to win it. And I told you, whatever you need help with, I'm gonna help you. But my job was there to coach the DBs and help Coach Scott out, and I just did my job, you know. And I loved it though. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. It's a dream come true, and one of a lifetime. You winning a championship with your son. That's a great feeling, man. I promise you that. It's a great feeling, man. And just to cherish that with my son, you know, and see the smile on his face. You know, and watching his eyes are big in the dome when he won it, you know, and making my heart smile when he scored the winning touchdown in the dome, man. And that brings, man, I played football for a lot of years, man, but nothing is better than the feeling of seeing your own seed do it, you know, and seeing your own seed succeed, your own son succeed. And that's one of the special moments of my life, football, period. That winning that, I'm gonna tell you right now, winning the national championship was great, VJ. It was great, bro. But winning that state championship with my son and sharing that with my son and that experience, man, to me, that was bigger than the national championship. To me, I'm gonna be honest with you.
And I think that's the icing on the cake, and it shows right then and there you made the right choice going to LSU because look at what happened.
Absolutely, man.
Jared.
And everything happens for a reason, man. It's like everything coming full circle. You know, God has his plan, you know, but I also, like I tell him, I also planned your life out for you too and how this thing was going to go too, you know, and it helped. I got great family. You know, our support system is great. You know, Jai's mom is great. His family is great. My family is great. And everybody, you know, supported and put hands in with helping him get to where he wants to be too and helping me out. Because VJ, I had Lajai when I was in high school, man. So just the great family support and background that I had, man, you know, it was great. And that's why he was successful. I had success, you know, and that was the biggest moment for me, man, and him too.
VK, I'm gonna ask one question, and our good friend George Peppers is here. He's gonna ask Jai a couple questions, and I'll let you do what you got to do at the end.
Yes, sir.
Coach, Destrehan this year. I saw y'all in the scrimmage against Carl. Look real good. You know, you got your leaders in Shane Lee, Kalaj Cobbins, and Anthony Robinson. What's the outlook for your team this year?
We young, man. I'll tell you, we lost a lot of experience. We had a lot of seniors, man. We had a senior class that a lot of those guys played as freshmen, you know, had tremendous success early on in their high school career. But the summer's been going great. The spring game was good. I mean, and Carl brought it to us because of the elite program, you know. So I love that matchup in the spring because it gives us a good measuring stick where we at. We both programs have a lot to work on, man, and we got some really talented kids coming back. Good leadership in Kalaj Cobbins, man. He's a go-getter, man. He has a motor on him. He's going to do great at LSU. You know, a kid who gives 110% every play, every rep. He's a leader. Offense going to be good. Shane is a leader. Shane been playing since he was a freshman. You know, we got some young receivers that's going to really be good. Really be good. 10 of them guys got offers and stuff already. We got a good young quarterback in Jackson. He's going to be good. Yeah, he's going to go through his learning stages, but he's going to develop and be a good quarterback too. So defense got a good linebacker core coming back. We got linebackers who got a ton of experience. We lost a lot in the secondary. So Coach Scott and I and Jericho, you know, we've been putting in a lot of work this summer trying to get them kids prepared and ready for the season. And we got a couple seniors in the secondary. We got one stud back there, Anthony Robinson. He's an Ole Miss commit, so he's going to help us out with his leadership in the secondary. I think by the time the season come, I think we'll be prepared and ready. We got a decent schedule. You know, we got John every week too. You know, they got some studs, and I tell Coach Brooks is over there right now. So I tell him, you know, it's gonna be a good matchup too. East Ascension last year, we played them, but we had a ton. We blew them out at home, but they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back stronger this year. East St. John's gonna be better. You know, they always gonna have a ton of kids. Brandon Brown is doing an outstanding job with them dudes over there, man. I'm telling you, every time I see Coach Brown, man, I tell him what a hell of a job he's doing over there.
Yeah.
Hornville is gonna be back up. Hornville is gonna try to turn it around and be more competitive. Terrebonne, the Tyler Lewis, the coach over there. I like what he's doing over there, man. Listen, that dude is putting in some good work over there on that bayou, bro. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
he's going
That's my man
play
right
all
there.
soon or this year or soon. He's doing a lot of great things on that bayou. He come from West St. John and St. James, them staffs. So, and them programs are used to winning. So I'm looking forward to the challenge with him and see what he does this year too, you know. But this season we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. We're gonna make a run, man. But we young, you know, and as the season go on, we're gonna get better too, you know.
Most definitely. George Peppers.
Hey, John. First off, thank you for taking the tonight. Been looking forward to this interview. Let's say the River Parish football. When you look at your program as it relates to everybody else, look, and let me just completely be blunt here. Hahnville is not the team that they were a handful of years ago, and it used to be Destrehan. Hahnville was the game, but the last few years you pretty much owned them. East St. John, you mentioned Brandon Brown, outstanding coach, does a great job. But as far as the state of River Parish football now, as it compares to just a handful of years ago, it seems like you guys have elevated and stayed elite, but the other programs have kind of fallen off. Talk about the state of River Parish football from your perspective. I know you just gave praise to coaches and everything else, and that's good. But as far as, let's be honest, the football, you guys have dominated. The other programs have just not been there. Talk about that.
Uh, just a good group of guys, man. The program is set at Destrehan. Like I say, Coach Robichaux done a great job of the foundation was there from a while ago, and we take pride in Destrehan football program and the leadership and the guys that come through that program that paid their dues, man. And so what we try to do is now as coaches at Destrehan to keep it going. You know, a lot of the kids now. I either played with their parents, went to school with their parents. We got some coaches that coach their parents, you know, and so we push them. We challenge them at Destrehan. Coach Scott does a good job of formatting everything and challenging the kids. River Parish football, as one time, used to be the best in the state. Like we live football in the River Parish. If people have never been to a River Parish football game, we live for Friday nights. We tailgate. We live for it. You know, and I know football is great around the state, you know, but it's something about River Parish football that we live for it on Friday. Like I was telling VJ, you know, and that this community shut down on Friday night. Nobody's on the streets in the neighborhood. Everybody's at the game, you know, and the talent too. It's hit or miss now in the River Parish at some schools, but St. James is always a contender. Lutcher is always a contender. You know, Lutcher wins a ton of championships. St. Charles Catholic has won a ton of championships. East St. John is always a program with a ton of talent. Times they just can't get over the hump. And you see East St. John damn near be having more talent than us in Homeville. Damn near put together at times when they had Parallel and them guys. You know, is that now structure and organization comes into it too with winning championships too and staying on top too. You know, discipline plays a key factor in winning too. And it has changed. We're dominant because we got a good group of kids, man. And it started from recreation football and them kids that we bring into the program. Them kids are winning since recreation. They win championships. They go undefeated year after year after year after year. You know, I tell guys a lot, like this group at Destrehan right now with Jai and the group the 3 years after him with Shane and this other group, them guys never lost football games till they got to high school. You know, then Lil Jai only lost 4 games his whole high school career. You know, and that dude been winning championships ever since they've been 5 years old. They're not used to losing. They're always known to winning. So that just trickles over to high school, and they have the mindset that we're going to win regardless. It doesn't matter how we win, and we're going to put the work in to win. But River Parish football, man, I'm not going to say it's on a decline. You got schools that's going to be hit or miss. Because at one time, when Destrehan had Coach, when Coach Stroud was there, Destrehan didn't make the playoffs. You know, that was probably some of the worst years in Destrehan football history. To be honest with you, you know, that was the first time when I found out, when I was at LSU, when I found out Destrehan not making a playoff, boy, what the heck is going on?
Right.
You know, so it wasn't the norm. You know, River Parish football is always the norm for being great football. Gonna have great athletes, great coaches, great atmospheres, and that's the difference from the other. But now to answer the question, I think is that talent here and there. But I think work ethic, putting the work in, good coaches. Coach Scott did a good job of building his staff with great coaches, man. And I'm not saying other staffs don't have great coaches. I'm not saying that, but I'm just speaking for what I see what Coach Scott has done,
Right.
And what we're doing at Destrehan, to prepare. And we're not complacent. Ever since we won a state championship, man, we pushing the kids even harder, because we know that it's going to be a bullseye on our back, and teams going to give us their best effort, so just pushing our kids mentally and physically to make sure we're prepared for the season. But River Parish football, it's still River Parish football because the community still supports it, and at one, Lutcher won it, St. Charles won it. That was 3 teams in the River Parish that won it.
Sure.
West St. John used to be good, but I think they're gonna get it. Deron Thomas just got that head coaching job.
Yes.
And I know D will do a great job over there with getting them kids to the next level and getting them kids back on top to where they need to be, because they won and I promise you, Deron would do a great job with them guys over there, man. He's gonna do a great job with them program. I'm excited to see what he does over there. Hornville is gonna be better. St. James, they just won a championship a couple years ago. They're gonna be good in playing championships. Yeah, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be real good. Lou Veldon left it in great hands with the other coach. Not Lou Veldon, Robert Valdez. Robert Valdez. I'm sorry. Yeah, Robert Valdez. Left it in great hands. And St. James is a football factory. They gonna be in the talk every year in that classification.
Talking about last year. Well, first thing before I do that, the one other thing about River Parish football, the food. Man, y'all kick tail on that tailgate, man. That's like one of the best tailgate experiences you could ever get. But and I can't lie. Listen, y'all could hurt a waist.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, that's what I was gonna say. No, you're good. I said y'all can hurt a waistline. Trusting what I say. Experience.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm my goals as well. And y'all can hurt a waistline and y'all can ruin diet plans. That's fact.
Absolutely. Look, I told Coach Scott, I said, Coach Scott, boy, it's gonna be a tough decision to make me coaching because I love tailgating for the games. Man, we throw down, man. We throw down. We
might have to make it
red beans, oh man, we tailgate. And it's all over the River Parish, but now, man, Destrehan, we got it going.
But for me, leading into my next question, first of all, for me to answer it my way, the standard of excellence at Destrehan feels like it's more so than any other school in the River Parish, and that's based on the results. But my next question goes back to last season. I, for one, picked you guys before everything started last year to win the championship. I thought y'all had the goods last year. I believed in you guys last year, and some of it was sentiment from Marcus Cohen personally, and he's a wonderful, wonderful human being. And y'all provided the greatest theater in winning that championship. How much pressure do you think last year you felt last year? The fact that y'all looked like the team that was the favorite, around the state, people were like, well, Destrehan's going to be the team to beat. And, there were a lot of teams gunning for you, but you found a way, you persevered. You beat a very resilient Westgate team in the semifinal. It was 7-6, and that game turned on a dime when your defense made a big play early in that fourth quarter, and that put that thing away. And then Ruston, a resurgent power, gave you guys a heck of a fight in the dome. But talk about last year's journey and how, I guess, the pressure of being the favorite kind of helped you guys out.
Oh yeah, it was a ton of pressure. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It was a ton of pressure. Coach Scott knows that. He knows that it was a ton of pressure because guess what? That senior class, they went to the dome their freshman year, and we lost to Acadiana. I think it was Acadiana. So and he had a good group of guys, and you got to think we lost in the semifinals to Zachary and Acadiana the previous 2 years. So we were close. And with that senior class, you had a ton of experience in that senior class. So, yeah, it was pressure. We had to win it. We had to win it. Marcus knew he had to win it too. He knew that. It wasn't no semifinals or it was championship or none. You know, and we took that with a chip on our shoulder, and we worked our butt off. We game planned. We put a lot of work in, hours and film and practice and getting them kids prepared and ready. Yeah, we spent a lot of hours on Sunday game planning, man, and the week in and week out. You know, 8-9 in the morning till 8-9 at night. You know, we put hours in, and it paid off, and that was the thing, man. Because a lot of assistant coaches, Coach Scott don't know this. A lot of us coaches like, boy, we put these hours in, man. It's better pay off. You know, Coach Scott tripping. Coach Scott got us here all day, man. But it paid off, man, because we respect the game. We have a lot of love and respect for the game, and we know that what you put in is what you're gonna get out of it. You know, and Coach Scott knew that, man, and we was gonna be with him every step of the way. And you know, every game that season meant something to us. You know, and you know, every game was a blowout. You know, all our starters only played to halftime the first 10 games. The playoff was when they really played, you know, 4-quarter games. So that was our biggest concern of that season, really, was how were we going to adapt to playing a 4th-quarter game? You know, like how are the kids going to react? You know, were they going to be mentally prepared, you know, to play a 4th-quarter game? You know, was they going to be physically prepared to play a 4th-quarter game? And we did great. No injuries like that. You know, we got stronger as the game went on. And we knew as coaches and players that the playoff was going to be different than the regular season because we opened up with a good Dutchtown team. And Dutchtown was a pretty solid football program. You know, they don't turn the ball over. You know, they're good at what they do. They're a heavy run team. They run power and counter, you know, and they ate the clock up in the second half against us because we think we jumped up like 21-0, but they ate the clock up in the second half, but we ended up pulling away. Then we played – no, who we played? I think we played Dutchtown the second round, first round, second round.
Second round, you played Dutchtown. Quarters was
we had to buy the first round. Yeah, we had to buy the first round. And then the quarters, East St. John, hard beating the team twice. We beat East St. John in the last play of the game on a 2-point conversion. We knew they was coming with the slant. We Coach Scott and I was calling it out. They come into the slant because that's what Coach Brown liked to do. He liked to throw the slant in the red zone, and we just sat on it. And Trayvon Thomas made a great play, you know. But it was hard beating the team twice, man. East St. John came out with a great game plan that game. I'm gonna be honest, and they got athletes. Coach Brown doing a good job with them dudes, man. And they had a great game plan. It was a hard, tough game. And so East St. John is a rival too, just like Harville. Right. You know, and they were going to be up, amped, and ready because we blew them out in the week 10 or week 9 in the regular season. You know, and come back to Westgate. You know, we knew Westgate was going to have that dog in them, and they came out. They came out before the game, pregame. Boy, they was talking some mad noise, that boy, but they didn't know what they was up against. I said we about to beat y'all for Carl and Easton. Don't worry, we about to beat y'all. You know, because they came and beat Carl and Easton the year before. Don't worry about it. I told some of my partners at Carl, like, I got them for y'all. Don't worry about that. I got them for y'all. You know, so Coach Antoine is doing a great job at Westgate, man, over there. My hat's off to him, man. He's doing they're going to be back at it this year. So we really going to have to play great football. To the teams that beat in that non-select division, it will be Ruston and Westgate. Zachary's going to be good, and it's going to be us four. But I'll tell you right now, Westgate and Ruston is the teams to beat because they got the most coming back.
It feels like one of you – oh, I'm sorry.
But that journey, man, that journey of that season, man, it was great, man. Every week was fun. You know, I did it with some great assistant coaches on the staff, man. A lot of them guys from the community that are older than me, that are younger than me, that I've been knowing. Like I said, offensive coordinator, Coach Bowen. He even coached me in high school. You know, Coach Smothers, all them guys, they from the neighborhood. So, you know, and them guys played at Destrehan and had success on the college level. And we got some good young coaches with Coach Jericho Nelson, Coach Pittman. So the staff was good, and I'm glad I did it with my son, a lot of the kids, my nephews, and my little cousins that was on the team. And it was a great journey, man. And it's something that I would always have in my heart and my memory for the rest of my life, man. And the community is gonna always remember it as well.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to see. talking about your let's compare recruiting journeys, yours and your son's. Yours
Mhm.
obviously was very well publicized. Michigan had the lead on you, and
Mhm.
LSU came in at the 11th hour, 11th and a half hour, really, and they swooped in and got you. Talking about your son's recruiting process, how that went, and I think he's at Tulane now, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Talk about both of your journeys, and also add into this caveat, Jai, talking about the NIL. How much of that plays a factor in recruiting today as it compared to when you were playing? I think the one thing you may want to say is that the NIL, you wish the NIL was around when you were playing, right?
Ooh,
I
ooh.
I know.
Yes.
But
So
no, I mean, my question leads to talking about your recruiting journey and your son's. Talk about both journeys, please.
yeah, so mine was a little different because I actually had Lil John, and my decision was basically made off of him. And I
Right.
had great family support. My mom and my aunts and my people supported me. And him, I sat back and I'm gonna give him the tips and give him some gems that he needs to know when it comes to recruiting. And it was different now. The transfer portal wasn't big when I was getting recruited. Really, nobody really heard of the transfer portal when I was in school. You're gonna go to a school, you're gonna ride it out. If not, you're gonna take a step down and you're gonna go D2 or something like that, and you're gonna play right away. We never really had guys. I really never knew the portal. I'm not gonna say it exists, but we really never really had logics of it of being useful because a lot of them guys, everybody I knew, go to college, stay 4 years, 3, 4, 5 years, and you get out of there. But so it was different, at the time I was Derek, and I was a 5-star, you know, and recruiting happened overnight for me too. Went to a few camps and it helped me out, and now I just give all my knowledge that I had. I give it to my son, on picking the right school and picking a situation for him. Telling them don't go to a school because of a coach. You got to go because you feel like it fits for you. Because coaching situations are changing, just like the porter. Them guys are in and out. So just giving him the real game of the recruiting process, and guiding him through the way too, taking him to camps and on visits and letting him know what to look for. And the main thing I tell him, it's gonna look shiny on these visits and it's gonna look glorious on these visits, but once you step on campus, baby boy, it's different, and guess what? Because coaches are looking. I keep it real with my boy. Coaches gonna look for your replacement. That's how it is. They're looking for the next you or the even better you. And so just keeping it real with him, and giving him tips and pointers, but also letting him make his own decision too. I'm gonna give him the game and show him which way to go, but the decision is on you because you got to live through this. He's on Tulane campus doing a phenomenal job. Coach JJ McCleskey, Coach Fritz, them guys doing a great job with him. That program is up and coming, man. Tulane, you better get on board right now, man, because that green wave rolling. They up and coming, man. I promise you that. Coach Fritz is doing a good job over there with getting good kids in there, man, and getting good solid kids in there. But I just with Lil Jai, I just kept it real with him, and I let him do his own thing. Even like with the football when he was in high school, when I started coaching, just do your own thing. You got to have fun at this because I'm not going to be on campus 4 years. I had my time, I had my run, and I enjoyed my time. I want you to enjoy this and have fun. So that's basically what I gave to him with recruiting. You make the decision for you because what kids don't understand is that you're making a decision at 18, this is going to affect you till you're 40, 45. So just making sure he makes the correct decision and that's going to be a fit for him. I felt like, and he felt that Tulane was a great fit for him. It got an opportunity to get a great education, which is important. And that's what I preach to him about. You need that, especially with a Tulane education. And it's going to be a great opportunity for him to play. And I think he's going to do well. I'm excited what the future holds for him at Tulane and that program. But the recruiting process was a little different for me and him because he played all quarterback, but he got recruited as a DB, and it was the same for me. So I just gave it to him. I always made sure that we trained and stayed up to date with our fundamentals as a DB, you know. So, and that was my big dedication to him. Just make sure he stay up on top of his game, you know, and just giving them pointers. And it worked out for the best for him and my time by going to LSU, because I made a decision mainly on him. And by him going to Tulane, it's awesome. I still go bringing food and all that. He's still my baby, you know. So I still go bringing food and still go watch a couple practices and help him out and stuff, you know, and go watch him and stuff, and still be that dad too, you know. So anything I could do to help. Now, with recruiting for the NIL, yes, indeed, man. I have me a $500,000 right now, man. If there was a time right now, I was going to get it. I was going to go get it. I'm going to tell you that right now, Coach. I was going to take advantage of it, you know. But it's a great thing, too. I'm glad. I'm going to be honest with you, man. With the NIL, I'm glad them college players are getting paid for that stuff, man. I'm glad they getting their just dues, you know. They deserve it, too, man. When you put work in, man, and you sacrifice your sweat, your blood, and your tears, man, to the game of football, man, you want to get something out of it, you know, because sometimes the game of football don't love you back like you love it. You know, so I'm glad them guys can get what they can get out of it, because they've been getting over on them, us players for years. You know what I'm saying? And making millions for years. And the only thing you offer is education. Yeah, we happy with the education. We are too. But money's not going to hurt us too. Financially, taking care of our parents and making a foundation for our parents and for our future children won't hurt either.
No doubt. And considering the Fat Cats have made more than enough off of you guys, it's all about the ADs and all them. It's about doggone time the players get some of the pie. And players like yourself, you know, and your son deserve it. And that's just me being completely blunt. I'm just going to be straight up with you. And the other thing with your son's recruiting process, how much of the factor of Willie Fritz potentially, you know, remember what was said at the beginning of the offseason that he was going to go to Georgia Tech, that he was presumed to take that job, but when he didn't, how much of that influence died to stick to Tulane?
I think that now, did he declare that after their bowl game, or was that before?
Before.
It was before the bowl game. Yeah, because we had talks about it, and like I told Lil Ja about the recruiting process, man, we're not choosing no school because of no coach. You know what I'm saying? Because coach is gonna change. You know, Chris Hampton was a DC at Tulane last year. He's at Oregon now. You know, and Coach Hampton helped Coach McCleskey, JJ, recruit Lil Ja at Tulane. You know, and he's gone. You know, and if Coach Fritz would have left, we still was going to Tulane. You know, and because guess what, it wasn't gonna stop us what we wanted to do and our goal that was set. You know, but I try to educate Jai and other kids that don't try to pick a school, because I know the coach recruits you, right? So you have to build a relationship with that coach that recruits you, but you still can't make that decision off of a coach, because that coach, guess what? That coach is going to make a decision about his family. He's going to try to feed his family. So guess what? And he's going to do what's best for him and his family. So as a player, you got to do what's best for you as well. You know, so just giving them insight about that, you know, and when Coach Fritz stayed, that even made it even better, you know, because we love Coach Fritz, man. He's a great coach, great guy. He's a winner. Every place he didn't been to, he didn't won. You know, he understands what's winning about, and he does it the right way. So we happy that he's staying too, you know.
I feel you. My last question before I turn it back over to Jared. And what about your coaching career? I know you're still coaching at Destrehan. Ultimately, you're going to be a head coach somewhere. What I don't want to say a timeline, a specific timeline, but your ultimate goal is to be a head coach. Would it be at the high school level? Do you feel like maybe you can jump to collegiate?
As of right now, I'm gonna just do high school right now, because I'm dealing with the health issue right now. So I'm gonna just stay pace on high school until I get my transplant. Other than that, I love giving back to high school kids too. I'm gonna be honest with you, because you know I once was that, you know, and you're gonna get more high school kids than college kids that you can influence, you know, and now with this new generation, you gotta approach them young and get to them young before they even get to college, you know, so they wouldn't go astray. You know, so just planting a seed into high school to and I probably won't be a head coach or try to apply for a head coach until Lil Jai is done playing football, period. Because I still want to be a father and support him and my kids, and So but I'm willing to give back to Destrehan as long as I could or any high school football program because I'm blessed, man, and I love blessing other kids. God bless me and bless my son. So it's a blessing, and I feel like that's how I get blessed, by blessing other kids. So I love high school kids because you reach them at a young age, and with this new generation, you have to reach them young because we all know and see how this the path that some of these new generation, these young kids are going. So the movement right now is for me to still reach to these young kids. Would I love the opportunity to coach in college? Yeah, I would. And I could have had some opportunities, but I would rather do this. I always wanted to make sure Lil Jai was situated in the straight, and then I'll get to that down the line. I only coach. I'm gonna be honest with you. I only got back into coaching because I started at De La Salle with Ryan Manali. And the only reason why I got back into coaching because one, I wanted to help Coach Scott and my son win a championship. That's the only reason why I took the job at Destrehan. And it was my alma mater to give back. But ultimately, it was to help Coach Scott and my son and my cousins and my nephews that was on the team to win a state championship. And I enjoy it, and I do, man. I have a catering business that that's been going on now. That I've been doing. And I've been putting effort in 100% into that and still coaching because I love giving back to the kids. So as of right now, I'm doing my catering business, and I'm also I'm going to continue to give back to these high school kids and this younger generation that need it the most, I believe.
Most definitely. VK, what's that thing that you got for Coach Eugene? You said a little while ago. What is that?
Yeah, I got this one question. I had two, but I got one since we gotta cut it short with the time and everything. And I hear you say you got a catering business. I do have your number. We might have to
let me know. It ain't no party is too big, too small, man. Let me know. I got the best seafood in Louisiana.
That's cool. We might have to talk kind of business if you know what I mean. So we don't have to talk. Well, this is my question. I had two, but I'm gonna ask you this one main question before we let you go. We didn't ask this to a couple of our legends that were finished at LSU, and even they were national champions, and even alumni. Which national championship team you think was the best out of the three that was recently for LSU? I know they won 4 in football, but those recent 3, from Saban to Miles to Coach O, which championship team you thought was the best?
03. Let me give you we had studs too. Just like that, 2020 had studs too, and our 07 had some studs. 20 was loaded. D-line was loaded. Them dudes we weren't gonna get no pass off like that. Them dudes wasn't gonna be, them dudes had Lavalley. You gotta think, them dudes had Big Marquise Hill, rest in peace. Them dudes had Marcus Spears. Them dudes had some dudes. Now, Skylar Green, that offense was loaded. Because you got to think, Michael Clayton, Dwayne Bowe, them dudes was freshmen. Them dudes was fresh. Them dudes was good. But I'm going to tell you right now, that 2020 journey was unbelievable. Our 2017 was pretty good too, man. We had some talent on that team too. But the best football team was the 06 team. That was the Sugar Bowl year. That was the most talented team, in my opinion. We had first rounders across the board. That's like I told you, with Jamarcus Russell on offense, 2 first-round receivers. On defense, you had Glenn Dorsey first round, Tyson Jackson, LaRon Landry. You had them guys first round. That probably was the most solid team I've been around. But that 03 team was loaded too. They had some jokers, man, with Skylar Green, Joseph Adai, Justin Vincent was a freshman. You got to think he won MVP of that year. Of the national championship that year. They had dudes, man. That 03 team with that defense and the 2020 offense go head to head. Now, I tell people all the time, I love LSU. That 2020 defense wasn't that good compared to the national championship defenses that we had in 07 and 03 now. In the previous defenses, they wasn't no top 10 defenses in the country. That 2020 team, they blew people out. They outscored people.
That 03 team, and I still ain't forget that time, that Georgia game. I still ain't forget that. I'm at one of my friends' house, and it was so tight of a game. And when Matt Mark threw that ball, when he threw that ball up, and all of a sudden Skylar Green came out of nowhere and caught it. and I was like, "Oh my
Yep.
God, we just seen this dude a couple
Yep.
years ago over at Memphis run like crazy, and he's got the game
Yep.
winner."
That was a great team. I
Man,
watched that game on YouTube probably like a couple weeks ago, man. Unbelievable, man. Ski was good, man. Scott was real deal. They had promising dudes on that team too with Michael Clayton and the rest of them guys, man. Them dudes was good. Them dudes had first round talent too. You know? The 03 team just overall, because I look at it from a defense perspective too. And from the 03 team, that was good too. Now, our 07 team was solid across the board. We didn't have the star-studded. We had LaFell and Early Doucette. We didn't have the star-studded quarterback like Joe Burrow. We had Matt Flynn, and we had some good receivers. Our defense was good. We still had a top 10 defense, you know. But the 2020 team, you can't take nothing away from that team. They were unbelievable. They beat 5, 6 top 10 teams in one season. You know, I don't think the 03 team did that, or the 07 team. We don't think we did that, but they did that.
Now I think it was the team that lost to Alabama. Alabama. That team was the closest. To being at 2020. 2020 made that up. 2020 made it up big time because of the fact of the matter is, if they would have won it that year, LSU would have had the two best, to me, college teams in history overall, because you look at the resume. You look at all these past championship teams. That 2020 team, you look at the Miami team way back in the 90s, you look at Florida State one year, you look at Nebraska one year, that the teams they beat and everything else, that is an unbelievable resume in itself.
Now, I'll tell you this, BJ. By resume, 2020 is the best football team ever. By resume. Better than Ohio State when they had Zeke Elliott, they won it. Better than the USC teams, they had it. Better than the Miami team. That Miami team was loaded. I ain't not saying they wasn't good, because they had 10 first rounders on one team. You know, I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about resume. You got to think, when Miami won it, they was in the Big East. And nobody was playing football in that conference. That was Boston College and them. They weren't playing Syracuse. They weren't in the ACC. Miami won that in the Big East. You know, they didn't have to go.
And actually in a better Big East later on at the time. Back then it sucked, but then all of a sudden it got better with West Virginia. You got West Virginia. You got Syracuse got better. Boston College. You know, Big East got a little bit better before the breakup.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only, and Big Ten don't play football. They don't have, Ohio State is not playing a complicated schedule like the SEC is playing at all. So that's why I'd say if you're going by resume, the 2020 season is the best season, the best team overall to me ever. But if you're talking about LSU history, most people argue that their 03 team with Saban and how much talent they had, especially defensively, too. And they had talent offensively, how good that team was as well.
Most definitely. Coach Eugene, man, this was an honor and a pleasure of having you on the show, man. We thank you so much for joining us.
Man, I thank you guys. I truly appreciate it, man. It was an honor, man. Make sure y'all come to them games this year, VK. I need to see y'all at Destrehan a little more too, man.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be there. We're gonna keep y'all on the list, man. We got
absolutely get that a little early.
We got something brewing coming up, so I'm gonna contact you on that. But we got something brewing, so we definitely keeping you in mind.
Okay, perfect, man. Thank you guys so much, man. A blessing, man. You guys be blessed, man.
You too, Coach. Thank you, man.
Coach. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Coach Eugene of the Destrehan Fighting Wildcats. Very quickly, guys, as we're running up against time. Destrehan's coming back. Bunch of talent, but you heard Coach Eugene. They lost a lot of seniors. What are your thoughts on the team this year, George Peppers?
There's a lot you're going to have to replace there. I mean, look, Destrehan's a factory. This we understand. That being said, when you look at the talent gap and as it relates to the rest of the non-select 5A Division 1, I'm not sure Destrehan has the same chops that they had last year. It doesn't feel like a team I could pick to win the state championship. I think it's a team that's going to have a few bumps early. I hope that bump starts in week 2, but that's just me. I'm just saying. They play John Everett. But let's be honest, this Destrehan team's going to get better as the season progresses. I think they win the district again. I think they'll be a top 10 seed. I just feel like Westgate, Ruston, teams like that. Zachary, I think, is going to be on the kickback. I think those three teams, more so Westgate and Ruston, I think, are the teams that we're really going to have to look out for in 2023 in Division One non-select. Those are the teams I'm going to kind of migrate to getting to New Orleans. I mean, look, Destrehan's going to be fine, but I don't feel that this year. I love Marcus Scott. Y'all know that already. I mean, we all do. But I just don't feel like this team has that kind of chops to win a state title. They would be a mild surprise, Jared, if they win it this year.
VK, quickly.
I don't think. I say one thing. Destrehan will be in the fold. I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be tough for them because of how Ruston and Westgate's coming back with a lot of talent and everything else. I would not count on Destrehan. I wouldn't be surprised if they do get back in the dome. All I'm gonna tell you, 09, 2009, when they lost Jordan Jefferson, a couple of weapons, that defense carried
08.
them.
08.
Oh, no,
08.
it was 09. No, wait. You're right.
We already had this conversation.
You're right. It's 08, 08, 07, 08 was the back-to-back. I'm sorry.
Yes. There you go.
Sorry. I had to think about that. 08, when they won it, when their defense carried them to the title. I really think this Destrehan defense is going to be their strength, and they're going to carry their team. Could they get to the dome? They do have a chance. I wouldn't be surprised to get back. But if they don't, it'll be probably to Ruston or Westgate. But either those three in general are going to be there deep in the playoffs.
I'll end it. Destrehan is loaded with nothing but talent across the board. Yeah, they lost a lot of seniors from that team last year, but guess what? They plugging these players right back in there. A lot of people are questioning about the new quarterback, Jackson Fields. And let me tell y'all something. This is a star in the making. I'm telling y'all right now, Jackson Fields will be one of the best quarterbacks for the class of 2026. Trust me on that. This is a pure pocket passer who will get the ball to his receivers. Eugene Jr. was a dual threat quarterback. He can get out the pocket and make plays happen, as you saw in Ruston with the long touchdown run that won the game for him. But Jackson Fields will be this quarterback that will deliver the ball to these receivers who these receivers say they got just loaded. When I tell you the receivers that are seniors down to freshmen already got offers. I'm telling y'all, Destrehan will be in that dome again. I'm telling y'all, they will be in the dome again.
And here's the only thing about that. The only thing that's going to get in the way is the fact if they don't finish in the top two, remember, they got to go on the road in the semis. And they got to go probably to.
I don't think that.
They probably go, if they go to Westgate or go to Ruston.
And that's a challenge they're ready for. I promise you.
I'm not saying I disagree. They have the experience, but it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge because remember, the last two semifinal losses was on the road. So I'm just saying they have a chance. They do have a chance, but it's going to be a challenge going on that road.
Jared, let me add to what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I feel you. But for me, last year's team had the one thing this year's team doesn't have yet. They had natural leaders on all ends of the football, both offense and defense. They had guys that were leaders and coaches on the field. You've got a lot of talent on Destrehan's team, but you don't have them dudes that'll be like, hey, I'm gonna carry y'all on y'all back and let's go. I think they're going to be better as the season progresses. This is a dangerous football team, and VK, I get what you're saying about going on the road and all that. You're right, but Destrehan's not going to be intimidated by anybody. They are a fearless football team. That road, please. That load, the last one out, turn out the lights in the river parishes. They're good. They're going to be fine on the road. But I still stand, Jared, on what I said. I'm not sure this team is a Superdome team this year. I do think that they'll be better next year is a team. I think next year would be the earmark for me.
I think
the leaders. You on this one right quick. I just disagree with you on one thing because you said the leaders. They got three leaders on that team. That's Shane Lee, Anthony Robinson, Kalaj Collins. That's their leaders. And that's the ones got to make sure the job gets done. VK, quickly, so we get
And
this show.
Shane Lee alone. That besides Robinson, but Shane Lee himself, and looking at how he carries himself and everything, that's why I strongly disagree with you, George. Shane Lee is a natural leader, and he's going to lead that team, and he can do it. And he's going to have help with Richardson and the other boys and the other seniors. They know what they had last year, winning it. Now they know they got to carry it to this year.
All right. There you have it. Everybody that tuned in, we thank y'all for tuning in. Most definitely. We want to thank Coach Eugene for joining us. We are back here on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We are starting our preview of high school football teams across this whole state. We are starting on Tuesday, 8 o'clock, with Mike Coppage from the Lafayette area. We're starting with teams from Lafayette, talking about the Westgates, St. Thomas More, Lafayette Christians, Acadianas. We're going to talk about all of them. We're trying to give y'all a review of the whole state. All right? So we hope y'all tune in on Tuesday, 8 o'clock, for my good friend, VK Jones and George Peppers. I am JB, your sports guy. We see y'all back here on Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Till then,